about results. Hardest to play against is about experience. It's about discomfort, uncertainty, relentless pressure that doesn't always show up on the scoreboard, but wears you down point by point. Rusedski understands that better than most. A left-hander himself, he built his career around angles, variation, and the kind of serve that doesn't just start points, it disrupts them. He knows exactly what a left-handed game does to an opponent's rhythm. How it forces adjustments. How it creates patterns that feel unfamiliar, even to elite players. And Eala has that same foundation. On clay, where rallies stretch longer, where positioning matters more, where angles open wider, that left-handed dynamic becomes even more dangerous. It's not just about hitting through opponents anymore. It's about pulling them out of shape, forcing extra steps, making every rally a problem to solve. That's what Rusedski was pointing at. Not hype. Not exaggeration. A structural problem for anyone across the net. And the tour heard it. Jelena Ostapenko heard it. Players tracking potential matchups from Linz to Stuttgart to Madrid to French Open heard it. Because when that kind of statement comes from someone who understands the mechanics behind it, it lands differently. And the players who aren't paying attention? They're not relaxed. They're just not saying it out loud.
Yeah, I have a, good lefty, moves exceptionally well, competes incredibly well. The movement's there, the firepower's getting better. It's a gradual build-up. She's really getting into her body. I like the way she thinks tactically. She's very astute out there.
This isn't noise from a fan page. This isn't a hot take from someone who watched highlights. This is Greg Rusedski, a former world number 4. A player who stood across the net from Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, Patrick Rafter, and Roger Federer in their primes. Someone who understands elite-level tennis not from the outside, but from inside the arena. He watched Alex Eala across the hard-court swing, the Sunshine Double, the Middle East stretch, the Dubai quarterfinal, and called her the Real deal. A future top 10 player at just 20 years old. And now he's pointing at clay. Not casually. Not as a guess. But as a warning. Because what he's identifying is something deeper than form, it's structure. Left-handed players on clay are a completely different problem. Historically, they always have been. Look at Rafael Nadal, 14 titles at French Open. Look at Guillermo Vilas dominating clay for years. That pattern isn't coincidence. It's geometry. Because on clay, the physics of the game change. The serve doesn't just land, it rises. It doesn't just bounce, it kicks. And most importantly, it holds its angle longer after impact. Now apply that to a left-handed serve. Out wide, into the deuce court, targeting a right-hander's backhand, the weaker side for most players. On hard courts, that's already uncomfortable. On clay? It becomes a tactical weapon. The ball jumps higher. It moves wider. It drags the opponent further off the court. And once that space opens, the point is no longer neutral. It's compromised. That's what Rusedski is talking about. Because those angles don't just create openings, they create patterns that opponents struggle to reset from. Patterns that force movement, stretch positioning, and turn every rally into recovery instead of control. And if a player like Eala, who already plays with pace, precision, and composure, starts layering that onto her game on clay, then she doesn't just become difficult to beat. She becomes exhausting to face. Exactly. This is where the math of tennis meets the physics of the court. Alex Eala's left-handed serve isn't just a shot, it's a lever waiting to be applied on clay. What Brad Gilbert flagged as a current weakness on hard courts, its inconsistency, its occasional lack of bite, is about to transform. On clay, the spin grips. The angle stretches. The bounce exaggerates every subtle movement. What looked like a liability becomes a tactical tool. Rusedski knows this intimately. He's been there. He's lived those matches where the lefty serve isn't just a weapon, it's a doorway. Against higher-ranked opponents, he used it to pull them out of position, open the court, and control the point without ever having to overpower them. For Eala, the same principle applies. A surface that amplifies angles, a naturally awkward left-handed trajectory, and a player who already reads patterns, anticipates shots, and moves like a predator on the court. The result? Points that are not only won, they're imposed. Opponents are forced to react, scramble, and constantly recalibrate. Miami exposed the gaps. Clay will magnify the strengths. And that's why Rusedski is sounding the alarm. This isn't just about a good player getting better, it's about a strategic transformation that could make Eala one of the hardest players to even play against this season.
is great for the WTA. We need more stars, we need more names, and we need new people. And she opens up a marketplace, and people just love her. Anywhere around the world where there are people from the Philippines, they're always talking about her. What meal can I cook for? What can I do this? You know, they just automatically, her matches sell out. And to me, she is a huge, huge positive. And I'd love to see her on this surface crack the top 20 in the world.
Exactly. Let's put this in perspective. Greg Rusedski isn't making small talk. This is a man who spent his entire career mastering one of the most devastating weapons tennis has ever seen, a left-handed serve that could dictate rallies, manipulate angles, and pressure even the best returners into mistakes. And now he's looking at Alex Eala, not as a polished pro, not as someone already maxed out, but as a raw canvas for the same kind of tactical power. I see what that can become. I want to be the one to develop it. That's not casual praise. That's a warning to every player in the draw. Right now, Eala's serve already forces errors, opens the court, and sets up points in ways that are difficult to neutralize. On clay, every nuance is amplified. The kick, the side spin, the angles, they all expand. And Rusedski is essentially saying, this weapon isn't fully operational yet. When it is, you won't just have trouble with Alex Eala, you'll have trouble thinking against her. Imagine opponents stepping onto clay, seeing a 20-year-old lefty with court vision, anticipation, and footwork already sharper than her ranking suggests, and realizing that her serve, the one that got exposed on hard court, is about to become a nightmare. Multiply the pressure, the unpredictability, the angles, and you start to see why this clay swing could be transformational.
Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines. He's like a god over there with his fighting career, and they're always so hungry for a new superstar. She's a lovely girl. She's been at the Rafa Nadal Academy for multiple years. We talked about the serve being better. It's going to be harder for people to hit a hole through her. It's going to be much more physically combative.
Manny Pacquiao. When Rusedski reaches for that comparison, he is not making a marketing point. He is describing what it feels like to watch a sports star carry an entire nation's identity on their shoulders. The kind of pressure that breaks most people and somehow doesn't break Alex Eala. Pacquiao walked into boxing rings with 115 million Filipinos behind him and won world titles at 8 weight classes. Eala walks onto tennis courts with 115 million Filipinos behind her, following her to Linz, to Stuttgart, to Madrid, to Paris. And she processes the weight of that love as fuel rather than burden. Rusedski has watched thousands of professional athletes over his career. He knows what pressure looks like on a player's face, in their body language, in the way they approach a big point. And he is saying, explicitly, publicly, on his own podcast, that Alex Eala is too good a player not to reach the top 10. Not might reach. Not could reach if things go right. Too good not to. That is the most powerful form of compliment in professional sport. Not she might do it. Not she has a chance. Too good not to. As if the top 10 is not a destination, but an inevitability. As if the only question is when, not whether. Now, here is the part that should make the WTA sit up. Because Rusedski's praise is not unconditional. He identified the thing holding Eala back. And he identified it with the precision of a man who knows exactly what it costs when the serve is the weak link in your game. And the good thing is she has a good attitude. She's working hard. But you know, you don't want to create this scar tissue when you're playing the top girls and you're losing so easily at times. And I think she will get over that hump. She's too good and she's putting in the effort and she is great for the WTA. But right now, it's kind of like the likes of Muchova and Boko. Those are the players you're looking to break through. He is right about the diagnosis. He is brutally, honestly, correctly right. The Muchova match, 6-0, 6-2 in 60 minutes, was decided primarily by the serve. Muchova won 80% of her first serve points. Eala won 39%. The differential was catastrophic. And it is not the first time this pattern has appeared. The Czech players, Noskova in Indian Wells, Muchova in Miami, have both exposed the same vulnerability with the same approach. Take time away. Attack the second serve. Overwhelm the physical mismatch with pace. Rusedski knows what that is like from the other side. He had the best serve on tour for years. He knows what it feels like when the serve is working. When it is opening the court, generating free points, creating that first strike advantage that changes the geometry of every rally before it even starts. And he knows what it feels like for opponents when it isn't. He is telling Eala and the WTA that the serve is the door. Fix it and the top 10 is not a question anymore. But here is what the haters who clipped that quote and turned it into a Rusedski criticizes Eala narrative are deliberately omitting. He followed it immediately with this. The good thing is she has a good attitude. She's working hard and she's putting in the effort. And I think she's too good a player not to make it into the top 10. Working hard. Putting in the effort. Good attitude. These are not hollow words from a man who has spent 20+ years in professional sport. These are the 3 things that separate players who reach their ceiling from players who break through it. Talent is common at WTA level. Everyone ranked in the top 100 has talent. The separation happens in the work. In the effort. In the attitude when the big losses come. And they always come. IGA posted, first Sunshine double done. After a 6-0, 6-2 loss at the biggest tournament of her season. She flew to Mallorca and went straight back to practice. She confirmed Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid without a word of complaint about the ranking drop or the schedule or the pressure. Working hard, putting in the effort, good attitude. Rusedski sees it. He named it publicly, and the WTA, which has been busy scrambling after IGA's crowds, after Djokovic's scheduling comments, after James Blake's public apology, after the chair's reform announcement, needs to hear what a former number 4 is saying about where this player is going. The Linz draw puts Ostapenko next if she passes Graber. Yelena Ostapenko, 2017 French Open champion, former Linz Open champion, a player who beat Swiatek, Alexandrova, and Sabalenka at the 2025 Stuttgart Open on this exact surface. The hardest possible second-round opponent. The kind of name that makes most players in IGA's position take a deep breath and count themselves unlucky. IGA has beaten Ostapenko twice, both times on hard courts. This would be clay. This would be a completely different match. And this is the match that Rusedski's analysis points directly toward. A left-hander with a serve that creates problems Ostapenko hasn't had to solve from IGA on red dirt. With a baseline game trained on the same clay philosophy that Ostapenko has been navigating her whole career. Alex Eala said, "I'm super excited for the clay court swing. I think that's one surface where I definitely have a lot of room for improvement. So, I'll love to see how it'll pan out this year." That's exactly what she said herself, room for improvement. And the tone matters. Excited. Genuinely. Openly. Authentically. Not nervous, not cautious, not managing expectations. But excited. Excited to discover what the clay version of herself looks like, because she hasn't seen it at WTA level yet. Because nobody has. And that, right there, is the most dangerous sentence on the entire WTA tour right now. Think about it. A player ranked 46 in the world, already with wins over Swiatek, Goff, Keys, Paulini, and Linette, openly saying she has significant room to improve on a surface she's barely touched professionally. With a left-handed serve that a former world number 4, Greg Rusedski, says could become dramatically more precise and more powerful with work. With 0 ranking points to defend between Linz and Roland Garros. Rusedski sat in front of his microphone on the Off-Court podcast. He thought about what a left-handed game does on clay, the angles, the kick, the openings it forces. He thought about the attitude, the work ethic, the untapped potential. And then he said what he said, she is the real deal. She is going to crack the top 10. She is too good not to. And clay? The surface that skeptics thought might slow her down? Rusedski says it could be the hardest surface to play against her on. Every rival penciled into her draw, from Linz to Stuttgart to Madrid to Roland Garros, should be feeling that right now. Because Alex Eala is not just a player to schedule around.